Minecraft is a curious game, or rather, Minecraft is a game with curious players. From an outside perspective, it doesn't look like a game geared for combat. The controls are meant to be intuitive and easy to grasp for new players. Click, and you deal damage. Give your virtual arm time to rest between attacks, and you'll hit harder. However, in single player, the only thing to use these fighting mechanics on are mobs, but they aren't really meant to be a serious threat, more of a challenge that drives the player to progress further into the game. So, it may take casual Minecraft players by surprise to realize that what seems to be a straightforward combat system in a PvE encounter turns out to be infinitely more complex in a PvP encounter. Players have taken the game mechanics intended for simple and easy to understand fighting and enhanced them through intense study and rigorous practice. To be good at Minecraft PvP, you have to be good at the game. You have to understand its mechanics on a fundamental level, and your technical understanding of hunger, saturation, potions, ender pearls, parkour, and even water physics can be the difference between victory and defeat. And of course, like all difficult things in life, those who can do it well gain tremendous respect. Minecraft PvP is no easy feat, and a good PvPer can come from any aspect of the game. Whether they originate as a speedrunner, a minigame player, or even a humble builder, anyone can learn it, but few can master it. And, inevitably, as all things do, when only a few select individuals have the capacity to master a select task, a question is asked. Who is the greatest of all time? Minecraft and its storied history on YouTube has had many great players, but in recent history, two have risen from among them and become the most popular contenders for the best Minecraft player of all time, those two players being Technoblade and Dream. So, with their legendary $100,000 duel coming tomorrow? With their legendary duel coming tomorrow, I thought it would be interesting to take a look at both players and see how they stack up ahead of the big fight. If you're a Minecraft player who doesn't know who these two are, what rock have you been living under? I'm not going to waste time with lengthy introductions. You know who they are, and you probably already have a favorite for tomorrow's fight for your own personal reasons. So let's just get straight into my analysis. Technoblade and Dream are two very different players, who both prove that a good PvPer can come from any background. Techno started off as a Hunger Games player, and is unacquainted with combat after 1.10, you know, the update that added shields, I think. By contrast, Dream, in order to improve his speedrunning abilities, very quickly grew accustomed to Minecraft's newer updates, including the ones that alter PvP mechanics. Their reasons for needing to become better technical players were very different, but the end result was very much the same. They both become great PvPers. To me, though, the differences between the two run all the way down to their personalities, and said differences most clearly epitomized by their Twitter bios. Techno's is kind of a meme, while Dream's is more professional and businesslike. Techno's reasons for doing YouTube are more personal too. In the beginning, he wanted to become a more confident person, and later he jokingly adopted the motivation of obtaining the legendary Hypixel Pig+++ ad infinitum rank. Dream, meanwhile, obviously has a great deal of love for the game and the platform of YouTube too, but the method he's used to relentlessly attack YouTube's algorithm and grow at an unprecedented rate has been nothing short of insane. I mean, really, I could spend all day talking about Dream's YouTube business strategy, and I fully plan to in a new video coming out this Saturday. If that sounds sort of interesting to you, then be sure to whack that subscribe button and ring the bell so you won't miss it. If not, no pressure, but I really appreciate the support. Hold on, wait, where was I? Oh, yeah, I was talking about the differences between Dream and Technoblade before I got sidetracked by trying to force a channel plug into the script. Anyways, that's not to say that Dream doesn't joke around or that Techno doesn't take things seriously. The Twitter bio analogy obviously isn't perfect and is very much flawed, but it does help establish that Technoblade and Dream are two wholly different characters whose similarities extend past their playstyles and even manifest in the different ways they run their channels and their different personalities. However, there's one problem with trying to predict a duel like this one. Because these two characters haven't truly squared off prior to this, it's hard to say who will come out on top. Because they inherently favor different builds of the game, and the terms of their duel implicitly acknowledge this fact, up until now it's been difficult to really make a one-to-one comparison between these two very different players. So as far as I can see it, the best metric we can use to determine which of the two will come out on top is their interactions in Minecraft Championships. If this duel is the presumed finale of some epic rivalry, then Minecraft Championships are the anime episodes establishing that rivalry. The two players have obviously been compared before, but seeing both of them pitted directly against each other in Minecraft Championships for the first time had sparked a whole new wave of speculation like none other. So I'm going to be revisiting these past conflicts in Minecraft Championships and judging their performance against each other in 3 different game categories. The first category is events like Parkour Warrior and Hole in the Wall, which we can use to gauge their in-game dexterity in regards to player movement. The second is duels, like one-on-one encounters in BattleBox and Skyblockle. And the third is Dodgeball, which could possibly give us an indication of their accuracy during a long-range engagement. Altogether, their performance in these 3 different game categories should give us a general indication of how they might do in a comprehensive PvP fight that includes all 3 elements. Let's start first with Parkour and Hole in the Wall. Everybody already knows that in MCC8, Dream obviously won Parkour Warrior and thus forced the Nox crew designer to quit. In that same Minecraft Championships, Techno finished behind him in 4th. In Hole in the Wall, they finished about even during that tournament, with Techno finishing ahead of Dream in total coins. However, Techno got knocked off first in round 1, Dream was knocked off first in round 2, and they were taken out by the same wall in round 3. Despite the fact that Dream comes out on top in terms of overall parkour prowess during Parkour Warrior, however, I think these two are still more evenly matched here than it seems at first. Techno might not be as good as Dream at ladder neos, and Dream might have more insane plays caught on camera, but when it comes down to it, in a PvP fight, the practical applications of their parkour will be extant but limited, so I genuinely think that this one could go either way. It's not a decisive victory for Technoblade or Dream in terms of parkour ability, so let's move on to the second category, one-on-one duels during events like BattleBox and Skyblockle. Dream and Technoblade have most frequently clashed during BattleBox, which is a game that prioritizes high-speed engagements and quick kills to secure a victory. Since everyone is running around functionally naked and without sufficient weaponry, it's not exactly a perfect model. However, oftentimes a PvP engagement can be decided by who dealt a decisive blow early on if the combatants are equally matched, so analyzing their performance in this game mode still holds merit. In MCC6, Dream managed to quickly dispose of Technoblade in BattleBox, while the Pig King himself seemed more concerned with fleeing from him. But in MCC7, Techno killed Dream with a cheeky dousing of damage potion before dealing some melee hits. Later on during that same tournament, Dream killed Techno at Skyblockle, which frustrated Techno due to his inexperience with later forms of PvP that rendered him weak to Dream's sword and shield attacks. So maybe the BattleBox and Skyblockle duels only prove what we already know, that Techno wasn't a fan of 1.10 and older PvP, and that Dream is. It looks like this category comes out as a draw too, depending on which version they're playing on. Hand-to-hand combat skill will inevitably vary between the two of them. So let's move on to results from a ranged combat exercise and our final category, Dodgeball. Dodgeball is the only MCC game that can give us an indication of both Techno and Dream's skill from a distance, and coincidentally, since we're keeping with the theme of directly juxtaposing the results from direct confrontations, there's only one tournament where they both made it to Dodgeball at the exact same time. Minecraft Championships number 8, or, the one where both Techno and Dream won, together. Luckily for us, this game of Dodgeball gave us plenty to analyze, and luckily for me, Dream already tweeted out the match statistics, with the Green Boy himself averaging 44.4% accuracy, with 9 shots and 4 kills. Techno, for his part, made 50% of his shots, taking 12 and hitting 6. The raw data, however, is less important than the circumstances in which those values were recorded. I want to talk specifically about how they got their kills, and why that's important for the future of their 1v1 duel. In round 1 of Dodgeball, Techno made 75% of his shots, but that description undersells and misrepresents the true weight of his accomplishment. Techno killed 3/4 of the opposition team, a team of 4, and the first 3 shots were all direct hits. However, later in the match he started getting targeted, so it's very hard to guess how he would have performed, but if I had to, I would say that Techno hit those shots early on because he performs very well when the pressure is off. Compared to the tail end of a Dodgeball match, the first round is usually pretty chill. If you lose, you can still rally and take the victory at the end of the day. It's the rallying part that Techno has trouble with. The Orange Ocelot's loss in Minecraft Championship 7 is a pretty good example that under extreme pressure, like knowing that you have to clutch a 1v2 to win the last game you'll ever play with your friends on the same team, Techno can understandably get nervous, and if those nerves overwhelm him, and they do lose, he'll beat himself up for it. And he did, and then he went dark on Twitter, but that's a whole different thing. By contrast, during the same Dodgeball game, Dream missed his first 2 shots in round 1, but hit the 4th player after Techno fired his first miss. And of course, Dream hit the iconic last shot of the game. Yes! Let's fucking go! Let's go! Dream himself has said that he hits the shots that count, so under pressure, although he too can be overwhelmed, it's more likely that he can find some innovative way to overcome the challenge before him. If you need any further proof, watch literally any Dream 200 IQ Big Brain compilation. Whether it's spam placing boats to cross a lava-filled chasm in the nether, sticking a miraculous jump onto a horse, or reading his opponents to out-trap their traps, Dream's most memorable moments have all come when his back is up against the wall and he's forced to fight his way out using nothing more than his own mind and metal. And if there's any situation where there would be extra pressure, it would be a 1v1 duel with $100,000 at stake. So in terms of ranged ability, once again there's some variation, and it's really too close to call decisively. But in terms of general performance under pressure, Dream seems to do at least a little bit better, and at least the way I see it. And really, that one hidden fourth factor could be the deciding one. Dream and Techno could be completely identical in terms of skill, but all it would take is a little bit more audacity from one, and that might be enough to overcome the other. And once again, if Twitter is a good epitome, then we might have found our answer. So that's the verdict then. Dream wins, video over? Well, not exactly. Because everything I just said assumes that this duel is going to be as stressful for Dream as a Manhunt or a Minecraft Championship would be. And it is absolutely not. It is, if anything, going to be unquantifiably more stressful for Dream. The stakes have literally never been higher for either YouTuber, and it's not because of the monetary gains at stake. Sometimes it's best not to ask questions that you don't really want the answer to. When Dream and Techno were paired for Minecraft Championships number 8, they didn't practice together or with their teammates. Like, at all, which is abnormal for both of them. In fact, they both believed that they'd come in around 5th. It's easy to get caught up in the hype, and it's fun, too. It's easy to entertain the notion that what we'll be privileged enough to witness tomorrow is the final battle between the definitive best players in Minecraft for all the glory and for all of time. But it's also easy to forget that both Dream and Techno are just people. Just two Minecraft players. Highly skilled Minecraft players. Extremely competitive and extremely successful Minecraft players. But Minecraft players nonetheless. It's easy to see why neither Dream or Techno would want to practice for MCCA. Because worst comes to worst, that lack of practice would be a good excuse for why they didn't win if they didn't. And I'm not saying that's why they didn't practice, because that sounds really bad, and I should rephrase that, like, right now. Like, seriously, right now. They weren't intentionally trying to throw the tournament by not practicing. That wasn't what I meant. They probably didn't practice because of burnout, exhaustion, fatigue, lack of excitement, whatever you want to call it, it's the same sensation. All I know is that if I was competing in a tournament where it was immediately assumed by the audience that I would win by default, but I knew better, and knew that it wouldn't be and had never been that easy, I probably wouldn't feel like practicing all that much. Because it's easy to forget that MCC8 was a tale of two powerhouses, who both made it to Dodgebolt. The Aqua Axolotls team was composed of Quig, F-Whip, and H-Bomb, all great players in their own right. Stiff competition lurked all across the board for the Pink Parrots. And the Pink Parrots knew that. But I don't think Dream and Technoblade knew that. But I don't think we, the audience, appreciated that fact. At least not until things got tense in Dodgeball. I don't want to speak for hundreds of thousands of people, though, because maybe I'm alone in making that assumption, so I know for a fact that I forgot. That I took it for granted that Dream and Techno would win, because it was easy. And I don't really want to speak for Dream or Techno either. I mean, every piece of analysis about them I've concocted for this video could be completely and totally wrong. But it's easy to impart your own thoughts onto the screen like it's a blank canvas. It's easy to get carried away and set off full steam ahead on the hype train. It's easy to forget that behind the screen there are two other people, both struggling with the weight of being called the greatest of all time. Tomorrow, though, that might come to an end. Both Techno and Dream's brand is contingent on them being good at Minecraft. People come to see them do fantastical things and make amazing plays that they never could. But when an opportunity arises to definitively answer the question of the greatest of all time, it flings open a box that only one of Schrodinger's two metaphorical cats can escape from. A duel like this one threatens to shatter those images, the images of Techno and Dream as indefatigable, undefeatable, untouchable gods of PvP. But it doesn't really threaten their real image, their true image, their actual person, persona, and personality. It's only threatening your image of them, and if it does, then it means that the images you have in your head of Techno and Dream are fake, because it's pretty clear that neither of them have bought into their own hype. They're still humble about their skill, and they have a tremendous amount of respect for each other. Dream applauding Techno for even accepting the challenge wasn't shade, it was genuine respect, because it takes a lot of courage to put your money where your mouth is when so much more than money is hanging in the balance. And this isn't meant to be condescending or grandstanding or talking down to anyone who's seriously argued that Dream or Techno are the best of all time. Not at all. I've fallen victim to the same dilemma. If it wasn't abundantly clear from everything I said earlier in the video, my perception of Dream and Techno was just as exaggerated and idealized as anyone else's. Probably even more. Not a stan though, I swear. So, to be honest, I really don't care who wins tomorrow, because as cliche as it sounds, we win tomorrow. We, the audience, the people watching at home, get to live in an insane time where we can turn on a black slab of glass and watch it come to life and animate and show us a green gremlin man stabbing a pixelated pig and vice versa to determine which of them wins an absurd amount of money. What we won't get to see tomorrow is a fight that will definitively decide which of these two is the greatest of all time, because as any fan of actual real sports will tell you, that's a debate that you're never going to win. The greatest Minecraft player of all time has always been a subjective title. We get to choose who we think the greatest Minecraft player of all time is. You get to choose who the greatest Minecraft player of all time is. You might think that it's Dream, you might think that it's Technoblade, you might think that it's someone else, but that's fine. That's all fine, because it's your choice. And tomorrow, we're privileged enough to see two of the greatest of all time showdown. That, to me, is pretty cool. Because in the end, all of these reasons are personal. They have to be. Because the real greatest Minecraft player of all time was the memories we made along the way.
That was my last move.
Hey!
And I leave the elite team.
Go!
People ask me why, but
Woo! Woo!
I must follow my dreams.
Hey!
I guess
Follow
that
me.
marks the end of
Yeah!
my whole 9-month regime.
Woo!
But I'm telling you, the game is
Yeah!
better off than it seems.
Slay!
So that was Blitz.
Woo!
It's been over a year. Nowadays there's nothing but,
But
lots of diamond
gear!
There's 5 scouts in each round.
5!
It's getting quite insane.
Insane!
I keep getting janitored, but
That's just the game.
that's just the game.
Sorry about that. Couldn't resist making that joke, but what is up, guys? I'm Frostbite Freeman, and I wanted to thank you for making it to the end of this video. I know it was kind of a long and winding think piece that kind of meanders about and doesn't really reach any real hard and fast conclusion about the events of the Techno versus Dream duel, but if you did enjoy and you want to see more content like that sometime soon, this Saturday type soon, then be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you'll be sure to catch all my latest videos. Again, you don't have to, but if you would and you did enjoy the content, then subscribing is totally free and very much appreciated. Let me know who you think is going to win in the comments down below, or if you're watching this after the duel's already occurred, let me know who won, because I'm very interested in seeing that. But seriously, for real though, who do I think is going to win the duel? Well, it's not exactly an easy question to answer. I'd say Dream, but I'm going to be rooting for Techno anyways, for personal reasons. But once more, thank you guys for watching. I enjoyed making this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Stay tuned. I'm Frostbite Freeman, and until next time, stay frosty.